Hello friends, so welcome to this video series on reminders. So let's start with the topic directly. So basic of reminder, everyone knows what is reminder. Just to revise this, I'll take a couple of examples over here. Let's suppose if I divide 236 by 9. So here 9 is called divisor, 236 is called dividend, and quotient will be writing here. So suppose 23 will go two times, so 9 to the 18, 5 remainder 56, then 9 6 are 54, and 2 remainder. So this is one. So here divisor, dividend, quotient, and remainder, four standard terms of any division. So this we will see. So divisor is 9, dividend is 236, quotient is uh, 26, and remainder is 2. Similarly, we will take another example just for revision sake. If say any number, 7 dividing 193. So here it becomes 7 to the 14, 5 will be carry over, then 3 will come down. This is 7 7 ja 49, remainder is 4. So in this case divisor is 7, this is divisor, dividend is 193, quotient is 27, and remainder is 4. So one thing for sure, the quotient is sorry, the remainder is always going to be lesser than the divisor. So what we can know ki remainder will always be less than divisor. And another relation what we can see is that 9 into 26, 9 into 20 to 26 plus the remainder 2 is what? So this is nothing but 236, right? You can do the calculation here. Similarly here, if we can say 7 into 27 plus the remainder 4 is nothing but 193. So what is the relationship? We can write a dividend as a product of quotient and divisor added to this remainder. So this is a very standard relationship where any number can be written as a product of q into divisor plus r, where r will always be less than the divisor d. Right. So this is a very standard thing. Now one more concept which we will see. Suppose we are going to find the remainder of 36 by 24. So what will be remainder here? Remainder of this would be nothing but 12, right? But 36 by 12, 24, we can also write in the simplest form as 3 by 2, right? 12 times it will cancel out. So here the remainder is nothing but remainder becomes 1, right? So though both the terms are similar, 36 by 24 is same as 3 by 2, but the remainder will not be same because here we are cancelling out both numerator and denominator by a factor of 12, right? So in simplest form, this is 1, and here the remainder is 12. So the basic idea is that remainder is always calculated of the given number in the original form. We need not convert that to the simplest form to calculate the remainder. Otherwise, if we do so, if we convert this into simplest form, so to get the remainder of the original number, we need to multiply the remainder here 1 with the common factor with which we had cancelled the numerator and denominator. Here the common factor was 12. We had cancelled this 12 3 are 36 and 12 2 are 24. So that 12 we need to multiply to get back to the original remainder. So this is one of the concept very useful. We'll see later on also. Now moving to some other concept of remainder. So suppose you have three numbers x, y, and z. So suppose x is 9, 11, 15. Okay, now you have a number, you have been given n, say suppose any number 7. Okay, so what will be the remainder when 9 is divided by 7? Remainder will be 2. When 11 is divided by 7, remainder would be 4. When 15 is divided by 7, remainder would be 1. Right, now if the question is ki what would be the remainder when number x plus y plus z is divided by here n. So that is nothing but what, 9 plus 11 plus 15 by 7. So one method is ki we can directly add these numbers. So 9 plus 11 is 20 plus 15 is 35. So 35 by 7. The remainder is nothing but 0. It exactly it exactly divides 35 7 exact, so remainder is 0. So the process is ki we add on the individual numbers. But now imagine if the numbers had been big enough, instead of 9 11 and 15 had it been say 109 111 150, then adding would have been a bit tedious. So another useful way ki rather than adding the numbers, if we are just asked to find the remainder of the summation, we can write, instead of numbers we can also write the remainder individual remainders obtained by dividing the each of the number independently by the number, say here 7. So those remainders were 2 4 plus 1 divided by 7, which is nothing but 7 by 7. So implies remainder is nothing but 0. So now adding the original numbers vis-a-vis adding only the remainder, this is much easier, right? So this process actually helps. So the, I mean, what the concept says ki if you have three numbers, so if you have to find the addition of the, if you have to find the remainder of the remainder when the addition of the number is divided by a number n, then how to move ahead? So rather than adding all the numbers in original, you can move ahead and add only the individual remainders of those respective numbers and also get the final remainder as an answer. So I mean, suppose another, we take an example just for a better clarity. Now suppose if had the x been say 18 91 and say another number 1 1 2, and say n is now 12. Okay, so if you have to find what is the individual remainders here, here is 6, here is 7, here is 4, right? 12 9 ja, sorry, 96 108, yes. So 4 remainder here, 12 and 7 ja 84, so 7 is remainder, here 6 is remainder. So now if the question had been to find the remainder of x plus y plus z by n, so your process would have been to add the numbers, that is 18 plus 91 plus 112 by the number, original number is 12 here. So this would be a bit tedious, I mean adding 112 plus 9, I mean, so this becomes 191 plus 2 193 203, then 18 add 203, 18 added to 203 221 by 12. So this becomes again 10, 1 times 10, so remainder is 5. So this way we could have done, but rather taking the original number, if we had calculated remainder using the individual remainders here, which is 674. So the 674 by 12, so this we can write as remainder of what, 6 7 13 plus 4 17 by 12, which is nothing but remainder is 5. So same as here, but this is much easier to calculate. Hence this is a very useful concept which we will be using later on also. Now moving to another, so that was the concept of addition of remainder. Now we will move to the concept of product of remainders. So let us see what does this say. So similar what we had seen. So see, this we can, I mean, proof also. Previous thing also we could have proven here. Ki, so suppose uh, x, I mean, in general form, what can we write? X can be written as nothing but n times q1 plus r1. This is n times q2 plus r2. This is n times q3 plus r3. The addition of all three is what? N times q1 plus q2 plus q3 plus r1 plus r2 plus r3. Now when this term is divided by n, what happen? So first term would give zero remainder because n will get cancelled out with n. But second term, so the final remainder will be nothing but the addition of the individual remainders by n. Right. So this is what we did. So this we can prove also. Similarly, if we see here, now it says ki if you have to find the remainder of the product of any given number, so rather than multiplying those numbers individually, we can just multiply the respective individual remainders to obtain the final remainder. Let us see. So I'll first prove the concept here and then we'll take some example. So suppose, I mean, n is, sorry, x is n times q1 plus r1, y is n times q2 plus r2. This we can write this for fashion. Then z is n q3 plus r3. Now x y z, x into y into z is nothing but n q1 plus r1 into n q2 plus r2 into n q3 plus r3. This you can expand actually. So expanded term I write. So this is nothing but n cube q1 into q2 into q3 plus n square into q1 into q3 into r2 plus n square into q2 into q3 into r1 plus n q3 into r1 into r2 plus r1 in, I mean, here small r represents the capital R. This we can, I mean, r1 into r2 into r3, where small r is same as capital R, right? So now see, this is the product of x y z. Now if x y z by n to find the remainder, we'll divide this x y z by number to find the remainder. So what will happen when we do that? We can see the first term, since it has a n cube as a product, this will cancel out, right? Remainder is 0. Similarly, this term also has n square, so n square by n division, this will also cancel out, so remainder is 0. Third term would also cancel out because it has n square, so remainder is 0. Fourth term also cancels out because it has n, remainder is 0. So what remains is nothing but r1 r2 r3 by n. So basically what it means ki if you have to find the remainder of xyz, product of xyz on division with n, it's same as the product of individual remainders by n. So that is what it's given here ki xyz when divided by a divisor n gives remainder r1 r2 r3 respectively. Then the remainder when the product xyz is divided by n is given by r1 into r2 into r3, right? So now we will see some example over this. So this, it has been given n is nothing but 2004 into 2011 into 201113. Now if this number has to be divided by 9, so what would be the case? What would be the remainder? So n by 9. So basically, I mean, instead of multiplying the whole number, what we can do, we can find the remainder of 2004 by 9. That is nothing but what? 6 digit sum. We know the remainder of any number when divided by 9 will be the sum of the digits. Similarly, remainder of 2011 by 9 is digit sum 1, 2 plus 1 plus 1, that is 4. Here 32516, right? So this is the product now. This is the individual remainder. So rather than multiplying this, the final remainder would be nothing but remainder of n by 9 would be nothing but 6 into 4 into 6 by 9. So this is nothing but 144 by 9. So this I think exactly cancels out 16 times. So remainder would be 0 because this is 9 exactly uh, divides 144 16 times. So remainder would be 0 here. So this was a much easier way to find the remainder. I mean, so here answer becomes 0. Remainder is 0. Now let us see some further example on similar concept. What is the remainder when sum is divided by, so 2004 plus 2011 plus 2013 by 9? This remainder we have to find. So individual remainders we know. The individual remainders, this is same as remainder of this will be same as the remainder of sum of individual remainders. So that is nothing but, so this is what, 16 by 9. So 16 by 9 is 7, right? The remainder when 16 divided by 9 is 7. So very easily we could get the final remainder as 7. What is the remainder when this term is divided by 9? So here it is, we have to find the remainder. So now we know that this addition and multiplication, both the rules work in the case of remainder. So we now deal with the individual remainder. So here it is 6. We can write this as 6 plus 4 into 6, right? So by 9. So this is nothing but 6 4 ja 24 plus 6 30. So 30 by 9, which is nothing but remainder would be 3. So final remainder is nothing but 3. So this way we can solve this question. Now let's move on to the next concept. This we have seen also partially. I mean, what does this mean? Say suppose if we have to divide 30 by 9. So what is the remainder? Remainder is 3 here, right? But if we now 30 by 9, if we cancel this numerator and denominator both by 3, so now the number becomes 10 by 3, and now the remainder is nothing but 1. Okay, so what we can say ki the final remainder, I mean the original remainder is 3, but after cancelling out and converting to the simplest form, the remainder is 1. So how to get back to the original remainder when the 30, when 30 is divided by 9, how to get back to that? So the remainder, original remainder would be nothing but the this remainder small r into the common factor which was used to cancel out numerator and denominator both. So here common factor by 3, right? 3 divided 30 10 times and 3 divides 9 3 times. So common divider is 3, common factor. So therefore it is nothing but 1 into 3. So that way 3. So that is what it's saying. Similarly, if we take another example like say suppose 215 by 25. So here we know remainder would be how much? 25 at the 200. So 15 would be remainder. But now if we cancel this out by 5, so 215 by 25, 43 5. So here this term becomes 43 by 5. So remainder would be nothing but 3. But the original question was this, right? Find the remainder when 215 is divided by 25. So to get to the original remainder, what we do, we find this r, small r, which is 3 into the common factor is 5 here, so r into 5, that is 3 into 5, which is 15. So this way we can get back to this. So this is also a very useful principle. I mean, this simplifies the thing. Now we look into a concept of negative remainders. So what is this basically? So now if say when 7 divides 13, so basically 13 by 7, the remainder is 6, right? But can we not say 13 by 7, the remainder is also minus 1, because what, 13 is nothing but n. So this we can write as divisor times quotient plus r, right? So that is nothing but 7 into 1 plus 6. Similarly, 13 we can also write as 7 into 2 minus 1. So therefore 6 is also a remainder and minus 1 is also a remainder, giving the same number. Same, we have same divisor 7, right? And the same dividend 30, but different remainders 6 and minus 1. So this 6 is a positive remainder and minus 1 is a negative remainder. So how to get the negative remainder? Negative remainder would be nothing but the positive remainder, which is r, minus the divisor, which is n, right? Here divisor is n, so r minus n, so that means r is nothing but mm, here positive remainder is 6 minus 7, which is minus 1. So similarly, if we take another example here, suppose I mean any other example, 210 by say 20, okay, or rather say 25. So remainder is what? 25 add 200, so remainder is 10. This is positive remainder. So what would be the negative remainder? Negative remainder would be nothing but this positive remainder r minus the divisor, which is 25. So 10 minus 25, which is minus 15. So this is the negative remainder. So the how we calculate negative remainder? We subtract the divisor from the positive remainder. So this way we get the negative remainder. We'll use this concept in solving this question. Now suppose the example, if this, we'll take this 147 into 144 into 156. If this is to be divided by 150 and the final remainder is to be obtained, so what now see, question would be really difficult if we have to multiply this individually and then get. And we know that 140 and individual remain positive remainders are also very big. 147 by 150, the positive remainder is 147. Here it is 144, here it is 6. So I mean larger numbers. So even if we convert this to positive remainder, it will be 144 into 6 by 150. This is also quite big. So further what we can do, 146 we can write as minus 3. In this case 147 by 150, the negative remainder would be 147 minus 150 into here the negative remainder would be positive remainder 144 minus divisor 150, that is minus 6, and here it is 6 by 150. So what would be this? 6 is a 36 into 3, 108. So 108 by 150. Hence remainder is nothing but 108. So this is the answer. Right. Now we'll move to another example. Now this is also an interesting question. What is the remainder when 3 raised to power 516 is divided by 15? So we'll use all the concepts here. See, what can you write? 300 raised to power 516. So this is nothing but 3 into 3 into 3 into, this is 516 times, right, by 15. Here actually the concept of cyclicity would be used, which I have not discussed so far. So let's, I mean, this question we mm, see later also, but I just saw this. So what we can do, we can just cancel this 3, we have cancelled. This we should remember. So now it remains 3 raised to power 5 raised to power 15. 3 raised to power 5 15 upon 5. Now we know 3 raised to power 4 is 81. So this we can write as 4, and here it will be 1 3 and 27 extra would be remaining here. I mean 3 raised to power 3. So here we are using a concept of cyclicity. That is why I have taken 3 raised to power 4 here, and then 4 into 128 plus 3 gives 515. So now 81 by 5, remainder would be 1 here. So 1 raised to power 123 into 27 by 5, which is nothing but, this is 1 raised to power 128 is 1 only, into this 5. This is 1 into 2 by 5. So the remainder is 2. But here we had taken 3 common. So the final remainder would be nothing but 3 into 2, which is 6. So this question, those of you who did not understand, nothing to worry, we'll see this later also. Here we have used the concept of cyclicity at this point of here. But anyway, you can ignore at this point of time. Now we have to find the remainder of this question, where the number is 1 into 2 plus 2 into 3 plus 3 into 4, so on, 99 into 100. So can we say what is the any nth term? Nth term we can write as n into 1, n into n plus 1. First term is 1 into 2. So if we put n is equal to 1, it becomes 1 into 2. If we put n is equal to 2, it becomes 2 into 3. So nth term can be given as n into n plus 1. So what will be the sum of this number n? N would be nothing but, and here n ranges from 1 till 99, right? Because 99 is the last term, 99 to 100, right? So n would be nothing but summation tn from n is equal to 1 to 99. So that's summation n into n plus 1, which is nothing but summation n square plus n. So we know what is the summation n square, we have seen in the introduction to number system. That is nothing but n into n plus 1 into 2n plus 1 by 6, and summation n is n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So this we know. Now see, what is this? Either we can put the value here. What is the value of n? N maximum, I mean it can go up to, this is summation n. So summation of how many terms? 99 terms. So n is 99. 99 into 100 into, this becomes 199 by 6, plus here it is 99 into 100 by 2. So this is, we'll take 99 into 100 common by 2 common. So directly writing, this becomes 202 by 3, right? So here we can cancel this out. So it becomes 101, and this becomes 33. So here it is nothing but 33 into 101 into 100. This is n. Now what will be the remainder when n is divided by 101? This is the question, right? 101. So if n divided by 101, that is 33 into 100 into 101 divided by 101. So this will get cancelled out perfectly. So remainder is nothing but 0, right? So remainder is 0. This is the answer. Now let's see this question. Find the smallest 4-digit number that leaves a remainder of 3 when divided by 17. Okay, so we have to find a number which is 4-digit number, but that has to be smallest number which leaves a remainder of 3 when divided by 7. So let the number be n is equal to 17q plus 3. Now 17q plus 3 has to be more than or equal to 1000, because 1000 is the least 4-digit number, right? So here we can write 17 cube has to be more than 997. So q has to be more than, we'll divide this, 0.xx, some 58 decimal something. So q and q must be integer, right? Because this is a quotient. Quotient will be integer. This is a remainder. So the lowest value, integral value of q, lowest integral q can be 59. So what will be the value of n? N will be nothing but 59 into 17 plus 3. So this we can do 17, no, 15, 85, 15, so plus 3. So this becomes 1006. So this is the way to solve this question. Okay. Now another method is also there. This we have seen in the HCF NCM chapter also. Okay. 17 divides 1000. Well, we have to find 4-digit smallest number. So we'll start with 1000. We'll check, this is 17 5 ja 85, 15 0. Then here it becomes, so this is, sorry, 17 8 ja 136, 14. Okay. So now had this number 1000, had this been 3 more, so the remainder would have been 17, right? So 17 means perfectly divisible by 17. So had this number been 3 more, so what did we did reduce? Ki 1000 plus the remainder, which is 14, minus, sorry, plus the divisor minus 14, then the number would have been perfectly divisible. Okay, so smallest 3-digit 4-digit number which is divisible by 17 would be nothing but 1000 plus 17 minus 14. Simply I mean 14 is here. Had the number been 3 more, the remainder would have been 17, which would have been perfectly divisible. So that is what we are doing here. So this way we will get the smallest 4-digit number divisible by 17. But we don't want a smallest 4-digit number divisible by 17. Rather, there should be a remainder of 3. So that number would be nothing but 1003 plus 3 as a remainder we will add. So 1006. This is the answer. This way also we can solve. Now we will see the second part of the question, which says ki how many such numbers are between 1000 to 115. So that is, it's saying ki 17q plus 3, right, is between 1500 and 1000. Okay, so how can we solve this? We solve this, I mean, this is a inequality equation, so we can solve this like, right. So this is nothing but 997 by q less than equal to, sorry, 17, 17. So here this we can find out 58 decimal something something less than equal to q less than equal to this. Here we divide 17 8 jar 136 13 remainder again 88 decimal something. So now q has to be integer, so q can take all the values between what, 59, because 58 point something and it's greater than 58, so the next integer value is 59 and it can go up to 88, right? So how many possible values are there? Nothing but 30, right? 30 value. So this is the way, I mean this is a bit longer way, I mean there is another short approach also, this we can use to solve this. Okay, we know all the numbers will be in the form of this only, right? 17 q plus 3. So every subsequent number n will be after 17. Like the first number is 3, next will be 20, 37. So it's after difference of 37. So it's just a arithmetic progression of 37, right? So how many terms would be there in a span of 500? Between 1000 to 1500 is 500. So 500, how many numbers would be there as a span of 1? So nothing but this minus this plus 1 we do. This is the for AP. I mean those of you who understand the number of terms of AP. So number of terms of AP is this only. So suppose I mean 2468068 AP. So how many terms are here? So we subtract the last terms 8 minus 2 by the common factor which is 2 here, 2 plus 1. So here it becomes 3 plus 1 4. So same thing we are doing here, right? So nothing, I mean using AP series. So it will be nothing but what, 17 2 jar 34 6. So this becomes 29, right? So 29 decimal something something plus 1. So the integral, I mean this is exactly 500 would not be there because it need not be ki 1000 and 1500 is divisible by is in the form of 17 q plus 3. So that is why we are getting a decimal that we ignore. So the number of terms is nothing but 29 plus 1 30, right? So this is also one of the way we can use to find the numbers. So hereby we answer the second part of the question. Now we look into the application of some remainder concepts. So what are the possible remainders when a number n is divided by 36, wherein n when divided by 9 leaves remainder 5. So it says ki n when divided by 9, so 9 times q1 it leaves a remainder 5. This is the first, this is this part. N when divided by 9 leaves a remainder 5. So n can be written as 9 times q1 plus 5. And this says ki when a n is divided by 36, what is the remainder? So let the remainder be r. So it is n in is equal to 36 q2 plus r, right? So this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So we have to find the possible values of r. So what we'll do, we'll subtract the two equations 2 minus 1, so it is 0. This becomes, sorry, this is q1 q2, so 9 is common here, right? So it becomes 4 q2 minus q1 plus r minus 5. So that is, it becomes 9 times q1 minus 4 q2 is equal to r minus 5, right? So what does this mean? How many possible values would be there? So see, uh, or we can write it as 9 q1 is equal to 36 q2 plus r minus 5. I expand this here. So now LHS is a multiple of 9, right? This is 9 multiple. So RHS must also be multiple of 5. This term is a multiple of 9. So this should also be multiple of 9. So meaning R minus 5 should be 9x. Okay. So what are values can R take? So it can be 9x means what? 0, comma 9, comma 18, comma 27, so on. And here we know in, so here R has to be less than 36, because R will always be lesser than the divisor. So R can take the value from this equation. First case it will be 5, or it can take 14, or it can take 23, or it can 32, right? Or next we will see 36. So 36 plus 5, 41. So these are the series. Or with a difference of 9. 5, 14, 23, but r has to be less than 36, so this value it cannot take, and the further values also it will not take. So what are the possible values of r? R is 5, 14, 23, and 32. So there are four possible values of r. What are those? Those are 5, 14, 23, 32. So this is the way we solve the answer, but this is a bit lengthy process. Had the question been just to find the number of possible solutions, so one way is to, so number of possible remainders is nothing but LCM of the two numbers, which is 9, two divisors 9 and 36. LCM of divisor 1 comma divisor 2 upon LCM of the lower divisor, whichever the lower, so smaller one. So here D2 is smaller, sorry, not LCM, only D2. Okay, so here what is the LCM of 9 comma 36? 36. And what is the lower of 9 comma 36? 9. So the number of possible solution would be 4. And what are those? 5, 14, 23, 32. So this is the way we solve the question. So number of remainders possible is 4, right? So this was a fairly easy question. Now we'll see a bit advanced questions on the same. What are the possible remainders when the number n divided by 18, when wherein the same number n when divided by 12 leaves 5 as remainder? So it is given that n when divided by 12 it leaves 5 as remainder, and n when divided by 18, it, what is the remainder? Let it be r. Okay, the same thing we will do with subtract the a. So what we get, that is nothing but 18q2 minus 12q1 plus r minus 5 is equal to 0. So we can write here as 12q1 is nothing but 18q2 plus r minus 5. So this we can write as 12 q1 is nothing but 12 q2 plus 6 q2 plus r minus 5. I have broken 18 into 12 plus 6. Now what is this? LHS is a multiple of 12. So RHS must also be a multiple of 12. So this is a multiple of 12. So this term should also be a multiple of 12, right? For both LHS to be equal to RHS, this should hold. So now what we know is 6q2 plus r minus 5 must be a multiple of 12. So let us form cases here. What are possible values? Say suppose q2. q2 takes a value of here 0. Okay. So at a q2 is equal to 0, this term becomes 0. So r minus 5 now will have to be multiple of 12, that is 0, 12, 24. So what are the possible values of r? When r minus 5 is 0, it is 5. When r minus 5 is 12, it is 17. When r minus 5 is 24, it is 29. But here r has to be less than 18, right? Divisor remainder will always be lower than the divisor. So we'll not go further because r has to be less than 18. So we'll take only two cases. 29 we will ignore. Now if q2 is equal to 1, so it becomes 6. So now r minus 5 must be 6, right? This is 6. q2 is equal to 1. So this term takes a value of 6. So r minus 5 must be 6. So r minus or 6 or 18 or 30 that way. So if r minus 5 is 6, so r will be 11, or r minus 5 is if the next is plus 12, that is 18, so it becomes 23. But again it has to be less than 18, so this will be cancelled out. Now if q2 is more than 2, I mean q2 is 2, so this becomes 12, right? And the whole term has to be multiple of 12. So I mean if this is multiple of 12, so this has to be multiple of 12 here. So either this can be 0 or 12. So r minus 5, if it is 0, r is 5. If r minus 5 is 12, this becomes 17. So this is same case. Now it will start repeating. So what are the possible remainders? So r can take value of 5, comma 11, comma 17. Only three values possible. 23 and 29 not possible. So this is possible. Now had we used the concept of LCM, the number of possible remainders, if the question was just to find the number of possible remainders, then we would not have to have gone through this whole process. Rather we could have done LCM of q1 q2, sorry, d1 d2 by the lower of the d1 or d2. Here say suppose d2 is lower, so it becomes what? LCM of 12 comma 18 by 12. So this is nothing but 36 by 12, which is 3. What I have got here as 3. So same concept what we learned in the previous example. Now we'll see another example on the similar difficulty. So let us see. I mean here n, what are the possible remainders when a number n divided by 12, wherein n when divided by 8 leaves remainder 5. So n is nothing but 8 q1 plus 5. Now we have to find when n is divided by 12, what would be the remainder. Let the remainder be r and quotient be q2, and here r will be less than equal to less than 12. So now on subtracting I can get 8 q1 is nothing but 12 q2 plus r minus 5, right? LHS is a multiple of 8. So what I will do, I will break this as a multiple of 8. So this is nothing but 8. This is a multiple of 8. This is also a multiple of 8. So this whole term should be a multiple of 8. Let us form cases here then. q2 and r. So if q2 is, I mean, let us even more do in more elaborate way. If q2 is 0, So what are the values which r minus 5 can take? So q2 is 0 means this term is 0 and this has to be multiple of 8. So r minus 5 can be 0 or 8, right? So what will be the remainder here? If r minus 5 is 0, r is 5, here it is 13. We will not take. Further cases will again not be there because it has to be less than 12. Now if this is the one, if q2 is equal to 1, so this becomes 4. 4 into 1, 4. So r minus 5 has to be either 4, so that 4 plus 4, 8 will be multiple of 8, or it will be 12 such that 12 plus 4, 16 will be multiple of 8. So what will be the value of r? That will be nothing but 5 plus 4, 9, and 12 plus 5, 17. 17 will not take, and further cases will be even higher, so we will not go. 9 we will take. Now we will take another. Yeah, so what is this? If q2 is equal to 2, it becomes 8. So r minus 5 can be either 0 or 8 or so. So here it will be same cases, 5 and 13. So what are the possible values of r we get? R is nothing but 5 comma 9. Only two possible r we are getting, 5 comma 9. Using the formula, it could have been LCM of 12 comma 8 upon 8, right? So this is nothing but 24 by 8. Here it's giving us 3, but here we got 2 only. Let us recheck again this. If q2 is equal to 0, it can, this is 0, so it can take a value of 0 comma 8. So if r minus 5 is 0, it be r is 5. If r minus 5 is 8, so it becomes 13. Okay, right. This is fine, no? 8 q1 is equal to 12 q2 plus r minus 5. This is fine. 4 q2 r now okay, let's, when q2 is equal to 1, so this is a 4, so r minus 5 can be 4, or the next term would be 12. So 4 is 9. R will be 9. Fine. If it is 12, then it becomes 17, which will not be a valid case because r has to be less than 12. Let us check with 2. Okay, so we'll try with 3 also. If this is 3, so this becomes 12. So this has to be again 4. Okay. If q3 is equal to q2 is equal to 3, so this term is 12. So this has to be 4. R minus 5 has to be 4, so that it becomes 16, a multiple of 8. So here it will be r is equal to 9. So this we have already taken, I think, no? So so which term are we missing here? Mm, 12 and 8, the LCM should be 24 itself. 24 by 8. Sorry, 20 by 12. We will divide by the number. We will divide by the number for which we have to find the remainder, right? So here it gets 2. So same here. Okay. Now we will see here another example. A number n is divided by a divisor d to get a remainder 12, whereas 5n is divided by the same divisor d and leaves 18 as remainder. Find the possible number of such divisors. So what will be the solution here? So if this is first equation, this is second equation. So we will multiply first equation by 5. So it will be 5n is equal to 5dq1 plus 60, and second equation of 5n will be dq2 plus 18. Now we will subtract this. So this becomes 0. Here it is nothing but d is common. 5q1 minus q2 plus 42. Right. So this we can rearrange as d times q2 minus 5q1 is equal to 42, which is nothing but 2 into 3 into 7. And we know that d has to be less than 18, right? Because, sorry, d has to be more than 18, but divisor will always be more than the remainder. So divisor will always be more than remainder, and here d will be more than 12. So from these two I can write d will be more than 18. So we can write this. I mean, this is nothing but writing 42 as a product of two divisors, right? This we have seen in the chapters on factors. So this we can write as 42 into 1, or 21 into 2, 14 into 3, or 7 into 6. This will be 8 divisors, right? So 8 divisors we can write into 4 ways. And now automatically which all cases d can take, d will take only those values, d will take only those values of factors which are more than 18, that is 42, 21 and 14. So d can be either 42 or 21 or 14. So this is the possible solution, right? Now we'll see another example. A number n divided by divisor d, n is divided by a divisor d to get a remainder of 12, whereas the same number is divided by 5d to get 18 as remainder. Okay, so find the total possible number of such divisors. So what we do, we will subtract the here only, so it becomes nothing but d will be common. 5q2 minus q1 plus 6 is equal to 0. So here it becomes d times q1 minus 5q2 is nothing but 6, which is 2 into 3. And here we know that d will be more than 18 from these two. So can now see, can we write I mean 6 can be written as product of two factors only in two ways, that is 6 into 1 or 3 into 2, right? Where d can take any value among 1, 2, 3 and 6. But of all the possible values of d, that is 1, 2, 3 and 6, none are more than 18. So there's no possible solution, no possible divisor satisfying this criteria. Okay, so number of possible divisors is equal to 0, because we did not get any divisor which is more than 18. Now I think this is the last example. We'll look into this illustration where n is divided by a divisor d to get a quotient q1 and a remainder 12, whereas n square when divided by same divisor d to get another quotient q2 and 18 as remainder. Find the total possible number of such divisors. So here also, I mean, see, if we square, this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So if we square the first equation, squaring equation 1, we get n square is nothing but dq1 d square q1 square plus 24 dq1 plus 144, right? Now what we are supposed to do, we are, I mean, this is there. So find the possible number of such divisors. So either we can equate now, let's suppose this is equation 3. So either we can equate equation 2 and 3, or yeah, I mean, let us do that only. That way also, or there's another way that I'll discuss later. I can write as dq2 plus 18. I mean, 2 is equal to 3 d square q1 square plus 24 dq1 plus 144. So can we write this as, taking d as a common, q2 minus q1 square into d minus 24 q1 is nothing but 126. So again this is nothing but writing 126, which is again we can write as 2 into 3 square into 7. Yes. So writing this number as a product of two numbers. So what are the, and here we know ki d has to be more than 18 to satisfy this. So what are the possible solutions? So either d can be 126 into 1, or it can be 63 into 2, or it can be 42 into 3, or it can be 21 into 6. And the further, I mean, then if we go further down, it will be smaller, it becomes. So this is nothing but 18, but it has to be more than 18, right? So this case we will not take, and further we will not go down. So what are the possible values of d which d can take? D can take 126, 63, 42, 21. Further cases will be case where d will be lower than 18, but we want d to be more than 18. So these are the possible cases. So number of possible case is nothing but 4. These are the four numbers. So these are some typical questions on the concept of remainder. We'll see much more, many more questions on remainders in the coming sessions. So hope you liked this video. If you have any query, just post that in comment box. We'll reply to that soon. Thanks for watching this.